Hello. This is Latin Alive series, chapter 9. I'm going over. Chapter 9 is this week's. Chapter 9, the first thing we see in the chapter is nil sine nuemie. This is the Colorado state seal. It means nothing without God's will. It is the Colorado state motto. This phrase was drawn from Virgil's Aeneid, Book 2, line 777. The Latin reads, non haec sine numine Deum eveniunt. Chapter 9 goes over ablative case, uses without prepositions, by, with, from, means, manner, and separation of the ablative case. First, let's go over the vocabulary. The vocabulary is arma, armorum, noun, plural, weapons, arms, armor, arms. This word is normally never seen singular. This is always plural. And it's never seen in any Latin text singular, or it's rare if it does. So vocabulary words are usually plural for this one. Next is carus, cari, masculine, wagon, cart, chariot. And then we get our modern word cart from there. Copiae, copiarum, feminine plural, means troops. And it's where we get the word cornucopia from, or copious. Frumentum, frumenti, neuter, grain. We have gaudium, gaudii, neuter, joy. We have gratia, gratiae, feminine, thanks, gratitude, and the words gratitude and grateful come from there. We have regia, regiae, feminine, palace, regal, studium, studii, neuter, zeal, eagerness, studies. We have the verbs careo, carere, carui, cariturum, to be without, to be deprived of, want, lack, be free from. And this is an ablative of separation. Libero, liberare, liberavi, liberatum, to free or to set free, liberate. Ludifico, ludificare, ludificavi, ludificatum, to fool, ludicrous. Prohibio, prohibiere, prohibiu, prohibitum, to keep back, prevent, prohibit. And then finally we have our adjectives, mortuus, aum, dead, mortuary, and all those kind of words associated with the mortuary, mortician, that kind of thing. That comes from this word. Optimus, aum, best, optimum, optimist. Nunc, noun. Nunc, now, that's the word, not noun, now. And then ubi, when, is a question word. Exercise 1. Starting off right away, we do exactly what we always do. We break these up into syllables and accents. We don't do accents in our class, but break it up into syllables, as we have done in the previous lessons. For the ablative case, and then we start with section 28. Normally, I've just taught that the ablative case is the preposition case, or the by, with, from case, and then we've kind of moved on. We've never really talked about this case that much. But actually, the ablative case has a lot more to it. You can break this up into 3 different ways to do the ablative case: the means, the manner, and separation. We generally have the ibus at the back of this for the plural side, so it's easily recognizable for a case or ending. So let's get started on what the ablative of means mean. And the ablative of means what tool or instrument is used to accomplish an action. It usually answers the question by what means and with what. There is no preposition in Latin. The ablative ending itself shows the function. And with this case, you translate into English as by or with. And usually the ablative of mean is a tangible object, not a person's attitude. So what this all means is that if we use the sentence, Marcus kills the fly with a stick. The verb is first, identify the verb first, kill. And then you identify the direct object, which is fly. And then you look for the ablative after that. The ablative is stick, or in Latin, baculo. The ending O is the first or second declension singular ablative. Here, second declension masculine. With what does Marcus kill the fly? And it's the stick. So the ablative would be with the stick. So the question, with what did he kill the stick with, is an important for ablative of mean. With what? Example number 2, he carried the grain by cart. So first you recognize the verb portawit, carried. And then you try to answer with by what did he carry the grain? Next you recognize the direct object, which is grain. And then you recognize by what did he carry the grain? Ask that question, with what or by what, and you answer by cart. Okay, so now let's talk about the ablative of manner. The ablative of manner tells how an action is performed, focusing on attitude, feeling, or style of the action. Ooh, that was 3. Attitude, feeling, or style of the action. It usually answers the question, how and in what way. The rules to remember with this is that often requires an adjective to describe the manner, and no preposition is needed in Latin, and usually abstract ideas or emotions rather than tangible objects. Your first example here, they pray with great gratitude. First, of course, you identify the verb, they pray. Then you identify the ablative, with great gratitude. Large, great gratitude. Check the adjective magna, or gratitude, great. It modifies gratia, or gratify. Gratitude. And then the question you asked is, how do they pray? With great gratitude. And then you would, at that time, translate, they pray with great gratitude. Example number 2, I'll give you the Latin here. Marcus muscam studio necat, or Marcus kills the fly with zeal. 1, you would recognize the verb. The verb would be necat. Then you would recognize the direct object, which is the fly, or muscam. Then you would go and find what the ablative is. And the ablative is with zeal. And that answers the question, well, how does Marcus kill the fly? With zeal. The adjective can modify the ablative for extra clarity. Magno studio, or with great zeal. A tip here would be, how does this person feel? Means is a tool. Manner is how you act when you're doing it. Step 3, ablative of separation. The ablative of separation shows being freed, deprived, or separated from something, usually translated as from in English. The rules to remember with this is it often appears with verbs like libero, prohibio, and careo. And you can indicate the physical separation, lack, or removal, and then translate from or without in English. Example number 1. Ager frumenti carens est. The field is without grain. The step-by-step analysis of this is the verb est is. So you recognize the verb there. And then, since this is a linking verb, we have an ablative, frumenti, grain. Genitive would also show possession, but here ablative shows separation or lacking. And then you answer the question, the field is without what? Grain. The field is without grain. That would be the translation. Your second example here would be Marcus muscam a scola liberat. Ooh, once again, we get the fly example. Marcus frees the school from the fly. Muscam, of course, would be your fly word, but first we would recognize the verb. That's where you always should, what you should always first locate. And this would be liberat. Marcus would be the nominative, and muscam would be the direct object here. And then you ask the question, from what is the school being freed? And it's from the fly, or the ablative. Look for verbs here that separate or free something, and you ask, from what? Step 5, exercises. Exercise 1. Divide words into syllables as I explained. Mark the accent, pronounce it loud, trains your brain to remember the endings and declensions. Exercise 2, where we're at here after section 28. Ancus Marcius. Ancus Marcius. You have to read this English reading, and then you need to identify some ablatives. Some examples would be the ablative of means, by the sword, or an ablative of manner, with great valor, and then ablative of separation, freed from. Look at the verb first. It tells you which ablative type you are to expect. Remember, the ablative of separation has some specific verbs you're looking for. Now, with this, please remember to go slow, and you do not need to translate these words into Latin. Okay, exercise number 3. You want to parse the underlined words. Determine case and function. Viros, for question number 2, I'll give you example. Virus bonus armis necant. Armis is underlined here. Armis is an ablative of means, with arms. The men kill with good arms. The good men kill with arms. And that would be an ablative of means. Number 2, we have for question number 7. Soci patriae pugna verunt magno studio. Magno studio would be what is underlined. So you can already tell this is probably going to be an adjective. Or the second one, which is the ablative of manner, which has an adjective in it. Now, magno studio means zeal, and then you have with great zeal, so or large zeal or much zeal, which would be magno translated into. So you would use that with great zeal there. For exercise 4, translate these English sentences into Latin using the ablative. So you have to translate these sentences into Latin. We have question number 1, the farmer was without a wagon. We have the farmer, agricola, was, so that would be the past tense of sum, erat. Agricola was without a wagon. Now, we would say here, carens, caro. without a wagon. Okay, number 2. The troops will fight with arms. Here we have the troops. Copier. Then when will fight, so that means you need to use a future tense ending. Pugnabunt, with arms. This would be armis, with arms. Number 3, we sing with thanks to God. So start with this one, I would start with your verb. We sing, laudamus. And then we have with thanks. So we do gratia. And then to God, Deo. Number 4, God will free men from evil. Deus, before I start, please start with the verb here. Liberabit, will free. Use that future tense ending. Deus would be the subject of the sentence. So Deus liberabit. And then you have free men. So you have that direct object. So we have homines and then from evil, which is amalo. Finally, I will let you do the last 2 on your own. The step-by-step for each of these is to identify the verb. Translate that into the tense it will be. Identify the direct object or the accusative case. Identify the ablative. Translate each part carefully, including prepositions implied with in Latin. Step 6. And then finally, we have our chapter reading for the week. Please translate these sentences into English. You have a glossary at the end there that will help you. This does not go into the back page. It is just those 3 small paragraphs here on page 61. But it does have some notes for you at the end. Then also, please do responde latine. Answer those questions and then fill out the cola clamor at the end of here. And then you are done. Thank you for listening.